T.G. Anandhu Krishnan ji is a research scholar in Vedic sciences. His thesis is related to setup of an indigenous or Vedic model of political union in the Indian subcontinent for contemporary times. From my recent acquaintance with him, I understand that he has a bachelor's in physics, then he moved to a master's in Vedic sciences, and currently he is in the process of defending his thesis. And he is interested in Indology and has been undertaking research on certain themes related to Kashmir in the last few years. Here, Anandhu ji has also published 2 articles, and he is a practitioner of Indian classical arts forms. And today he is amongst us to present his paper on the psychological impacts of re-implementing Kashmiri script Sharda. So, without further ado, Anandhu ji, the stage is yours.
Anandhu was our student in our first IKS course batch, postgraduate course at MIT School of Vedic Sciences. He was the first batch PG student there. He is a Bharatanatyam dancer also. Currently, he is doing PhD on Chanakya's Artha Shastra as a model for international relations from the same MIT School of Vedic Sciences. I saw him without mush. Now I'm very glad to see him with mush. Please proceed, Anand.
Thank you, sir. So, myself, Anandhu Krishnan, and my title is The Psychological Impacts of Re-implementing Kashmiri Script, Sharda in Kashmir. So, before entering to the topic, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to present this paper. And also, I'm grateful to the team Indica, the organizers, for organizing this conference because this is a kind of like in the contemporary situation after the abrogation of Article 370, this kind of conference should take place and should be in the discussions and all. So it's a great thing, and yeah, so we'll go to the content. So the psychological impacts of re-implementing Kashmiri script, Sharda in Kashmir. Is the screen visible to all?
Yes, Anandhu ji.
Yeah. Okay. So before entering to the content, I would like to mention that Sharda script or Sharda Lipi has actually been taught in the universities of Himachal Pradesh and in Haryana, and there is a special chair for the Sharda, and even there are many diploma courses in recent times for this Sharda Lipi. But this paper is actually focused on the valley of Kashmir, not even the entire UT of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly the valley and the people living over there. So scripts always play an important role in reclaiming one's identity, either indigenous or communal in a geopolitical context. There are mainly 3 psychological impacts of re-implementing Kashmiri script or Sharda in Kashmiri language in Kashmir. Why particularly mentioning Kashmiri language means there are other communities like Pahadis and Gujars living in Kashmir. But as a hello?
Yes, proceed.
Yeah. So as a mainstream, this paper is particularly focusing on the Kashmiri language. The use of naphthalic script, which is writing from right to left, are similar to the Arabic and Persian script in the valley, is one of the psychological factor that promotes their communal identity of being Islam, which helps in reclaiming its closer relation to Pakistan, as Pakistan dominates as a state for the Muslim cause in the subcontinent than India. As we all know that the main cause of partition was the formation of Pakistan was for the safeguard of the Muslim interest. So the use of naphthalic script in the entire UT of Jammu Kashmir, particularly in the valley, due to its majority of the Muslim population, will helps them to reclaim its closer relation to Pakistan. So there are 3 psychological impacts for re-implementing the indigenous script or Kashmiri script. Before entering into that, let's understand the communal expressions in the valley. Kashmir, due to its majority of the Muslim population and the campaigned interests of Pakistan, made the valley more communal, which overruling the identity of being a normal Kashmiri. Now, we can, while we are into the valley, we can observe the scenario like being like, for instance, like a Keralite or a Maharashtrian. When we are entering into the valley, we can see like a Kashmiri Musliman or a Kashmiri Muslim, which is overruling their normal identity of being a Kashmiri. While Kashmir follows Urdu as the official language with the Nastaliq script, it shows more geopolitical connection to Pakistan than rest of the India. While we are looking in the geopolitical map or the South Asian map or the Indian subcontinent map, we can find that apart from the J&K region, all other states, including even Bhutan, Nepal, or even Bangladesh, we can see that the scripts are more connected to the Indian traditions. Their indigenous, they have maintained their indigenous touch, that the scripts will be writing from left to right, which is also known as the Abugida writing system. Whereas in case of Jammu and Kashmir region, and as a continuity to the Pakistan, we can find their connection closer to the Arabic, the Nastaliq script, which begins from right to left. In contemporary scenario within the valley, use of Hindi and Urdu language are visible in the religious context of Hindi for Urdu and Hindi for Hindu and Urdu for Muslim. Whereas Hindi is written in Devanagari script, which starts from left to right, whereas Urdu in Nastaliq script, which begins from right to left. Coming to Kashmiri language, which is taught in Nastaliq script, along with arguing their communal connections with Pakistan, they commonly claims for their geographical connectivity with Pakistan. We all know that before the partition, to go to the valley, most of the people choose or prefer the route by going through that Islamabad, that side, because the Pir Panjal range and all, it's like only the Jawahar Tunnel was the only source to reach Kashmir. Recent times there are other constructions, even railways are getting off to reach the Srinagar, but the Jawahar Tunnel was the only connection. We can see that they also used to claim this geographical connectivity and claim the disintegrity, showing that disintegrity with the rest of the India. So, implementing Devanagari script for Kashmiri language is a possibility to connect Kashmir with rest of the Indian scripts, but it's not a solution to prevent the communal identity, whereas it will also generate more communalism among Kashmiri Hindus and Kashmiri Muslims in the valley. Almost after 90s, according to some sources, there are almost 800 families still living in which they have not migrated, and there are more than 7 colonies in the valley of Kashmir. So even the Hindus who are living, or the Kashmiri Pandits who are living there, if we are focusing implementing Devanagari script for Kashmiri language, it will again classify the Hindus and Muslims instead of being a Kashmiri. Also in academics or in schools, if it is optional for choosing the script, Kashmiri language will be in more preferable in Nastaliq, as the majority of Kashmiris in the valley are Muslims. If the optional is not in preference, then the forceful implementation of Devanagari script for Kashmiri language may lead to protests in the initial stages. This is again due to the communal identity overruling their indigenous identity. Let's go to the 3 psychological impacts through the implementation of Kashmiri script in Kashmir. Number 1, identity of being Kashmiri a priority. as discussed before, due to the Pakistan campaignings and all, there have been a closer relation, not the entire Kashmir Valley, but due to these campaignings, we can know that there are a kind of approach like the Kashmiri language being written in Nastalics and their communal relation with Pakistan and their separatist mentality and claiming for Islamic Republic of Jammu and Kashmir. When coming all these things together, the lack of indigenous script for indigenous language is a psychological factor which make them connect more towards Pakistan. So re-implementing Sharda script or Kashmiri script will promote the indigenous identity for indigenous language. This is the first psychological impact, identity of being a Kashmiri. So this is Gupka Road in Srinagar. Here we can see that that I will just use the cursor. Here it is written in Sharda, the Kashmiri script, mentioning welcome. I think it's to be pronounced as Kusam Deed or Kusham Deed. It's in Kashmiri. So it is written in Sharda script, but in Kashmiri language. The second psychological impact, a relation with the rest of the indigenous scripts, Abugida writing system. So by the implementation of Kashmiri script being written from left to right, not only promotes the classical identity of Kashmiri language, instead the script also have its continuity with the rest of Indian scripts, which is similar to the Abugida writing system, that is from left to right, than from Pakistan Nastalic. This cut off the geopolitical continuity of Pakistan to Kashmir in terms of Nastalic script. So, which I have mentioned before, when we are looking at the geopolitical map, we can see that the connection of Pakistan and it goes along to the Jammu and Kashmir region. So, while the reimplementation of the Sharda Lipi or the Kashmiri script, it will relate more towards the rest of the indigenous scripts, the Indian scripts, which begins from left to right, and it will cut off the geopolitical continuity of Pakistan in terms of Nastalic script. Third, phonetically connected to the indigenous Indian traditions. It is also to be noted that along with the learnings of Kashmiri script to the Kashmiri language, the upcoming generation will be following the phonetics of Indian alphabets A, A, E, E, instead of phonetics of using not Urdu alphabets, the Arabic Persian Alif, Be, Pe, Te. So if you are communicating with most of the Kashmiris, we can know that once we are trying to explain them the alphabets, they are not able to catch up. But if we are like if you are talking to a Marathi and giving a Malayalam script, they are able to we are able to explain them because they know the Indian alphabets A, I, E, E. But in the case of Kashmir, it is not possible. So the third psychological impact is that the upcoming generation will follow the phonetics of Indian alphabets and psychologically will be connected more towards the Indian or indigenous tradition. In both the Indian or indigenous tradition, both will create an integrity of the nation, will promote the integrity of the nation. Choosing custom or communal examples within Indian subcontinent. There are two political examples within Indian subcontinent with regards to the indigenous or communal identities, Bangladesh and Maldives. In case of Maldives, it was once part of the Vedic or Indian tradition with stories of Rishi Agastya in their folk tales is been now diminished. Due to the Arab, African, Islamic influences in the island country, gradually created a separate identity of their indigenous culture. Implementation of Nastalic script was one of its main factors. Today resulted to a complete Sunni Islamic state. We all know that the Maldives script was known as Divehi Kuru script. But now even the name have not been changed, but the style of writing have been changed from Indian script tradition towards the nostalgic script, because they have now they are writing as similar to the Arabic or the Urdu tradition, which begins from right to left. And now we know that even you have to be a citizen of Maldives, you have to be a follower of the Sunni sect of Islam, and it's completely a Sunni Islamic state. So this implementation of Islamic state, or the establishment of Islamic state, happened maybe some years before, but at the initial stages, their script and implementation of the script and the change of the script have been taken as the initial steps, which resulted in the formation of the Sunni Islamic state. But in case of Bangladesh, it became independent from East Pakistan, which was due to their superiority in their identity of being a Bengali than their communal identity. We know that in case after the partition, Bangladesh was struggling to revive their indigenous identity, or to overcome their to show their Bengali identity, which being overruled by the Urdu identity. So even though it is a Muslim majoritarian state today, it officially follows their Bengali or Bangla or Bengali script rather than its communal script. Here, choosing custom or communal in the sense is not being an issue of being a follower of a particular religion, but the thing is that what should be our priority in choosing either our indigenous identity or our communal identity. In both the case of Maldives and Bangladesh, script played a major role in reclaiming one's indigenous or communal identity. This is the map where in the red color I have been circled, which shows the Bangla script. Actually, it's Bengali script, but due to the formation of Bangladesh, they have just changed the Bengali to Bangla, a separate identity, but still they follow their indigenous traditions and their continuity to the Indian script tradition. But in case of Maldives, we can see that Divehi Kuru script, which was now it's been writing from right to left, not following the Indian tradition. And at the top, the Pakistan and Kashmir, the continuity of Urdu and it extending from this Balochistan, Sindh region to the Kashmir and Jammu and Kashmir region. So conclusion. One of the way forward for the psychological integrity of Kashmir is to promote Sharda in the name of Kashmiri script. This can reclaim the indigenous identity of Kashmir, as similar to other Muslim influencer states like Kerala, West Bengal or Tamil Nadu having their own scripts. We know that Kerala, West Bengal, such kind of states are having good Muslim population, but there we cannot find a particular script, even though they've studies in their madrasas, this Arabic things and all, but the Malayalam script or the Bengali script is not considered as an Hindu script or a script for some other community. It was in general like a Malayali script or a Bengali script. So the forward way for the psychological integrity of Kashmir is to promote Sharda in the name of Kashmiri script. By reviving the Kashmiri script for Kashmiri language can promote the cultural continuity through the above psychological impacts and may keep the communal identity behind. As of now, an NGO, Sanjeevani Sharda Kendra, which has been centered in Bodhi in the Jammu division of Jammu and Kashmir, have been recommended for the Director Board of Education in Jammu division for the implementation of Sharda for Kashmiri language in the Jammu division. I think last in 2021, in around July, in the month of July, they have recommended, but there was no action till date. But the same thing should happen in the Kashmir division too, and which will be a step for to show the more to create an integrity to the national integrity thing. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anandhu. You may stop sharing. Nagaraj Karu, any comments, observations, and the delegates, panelists, any queries or inputs for our young scholar?
Yeah, it's a very brief and short presentation with a very short focused argument, a very as juvenile as he is. Let us see. Actually, yeah, it's a policy suggestion for Kashmir administration, and it's a good suggestion. Anandhu, good work. Like your other works on Chanakya Shastra and others. Congratulations. Questions? Any questions in the question and answer box? No.
I have a question. May I ask?
Uh,
Well, I had already made Anandhu ji. Have you discussed it on ground? Because you told me that you have been to Kashmir on quite a few occasions. Have you discussed it with people based in Kashmir ever, or do you intend to do it later? Could you tell me more about that?
Have been discussing, interacting with people, even in scholarly fields in our JNK Academy, and even the village people also, just to understand their intention. And what I came to know that most of the people not even knowing about there was a script, and it's like their indigenous script. When he was discussing or explaining about this Sharda thing, they know about Sharda Mata. But about the Sharda script, when they are just into Kashmiri language, they are writing the Nastaliq script. So I came to know that it's a like kind of thing in the Hawa mein hai aaj. But in the scholarly circles, people are aware of that. And I just forgot name. He is located in the Udi region, and he wrote a book in Urdu, and it's about the importance, the necessity of Sharda in Pahadi and Kashmiri language. Just forgot his name, sorry. So there are people even being ready to accept such things, but it's up to the government, like how it's up to the government, the decisions and all. And
Thank you.